I have to tell you, I recommend when you hear so-called experts speaking that you let it go in one ear and out the other if you have to hear it. There are some cases you don't even have to hear it or should not hear it. Be careful what you hear, right? But these so-called experts, especially with degrees, are as dumb as a doorknob. It is easier for a person without a degree to enter the kingdom of heaven than it is a person with a degree. And and I've noticed that not all, but many, if not most, many people who are very educated hate the family. They hate that family order. They don't like man over woman and woman over children, man over woman and woman over children, God over Christ, Christ over man, man over woman. They hate that order. And I understand why, because it is a spiritual order. And in life, you are not in control of anything if you have not been born of the Spirit. Satan is your daddy. You're dying. You're walking dead in darkness and don't even know it. And that's why in that darkness, you're always condemning other people, hating and judging and pointing the finger, and your life is just screwed up because you don't know, you can't see yourself, right? But these so-called professors and experts with degrees, they have no idea. That's why they put you on medication. They have you call yourself, if you're an alcoholic, they say you're an alcoholic for life. And once they tell you that, I guess they tell you that at these alcoholic meetings. And you get up at the meeting, you say, "Hi, my name is John Doe, and I'm an alcoholic." And everybody go, "Yeah, hooray for the alcoholic." And then they get you to saying that, and you have to say it for life. And because you're convinced what you say is what you believe. And what you believe control you. And if you believe you're an alcoholic, that's what you will be for life. It's not what you are, but it's what you will do. What you are is a son or daughter of Satan. They don't tell you about a cause and effect. There's a cause for every effect. And if you're in darkness, your life is dark. And you can't see your way out. And you trust everybody but the truth within you. Isn't that amazing? Here is a so-called expert who thinks she knows best, to the point that she want to raise your children. Not fathers and mothers raising their children. This woman thinks she knows best. She's a Harvard professor. You should save your money and not send your children to those schools. If you got to waste your money on the schools, on your children, it would be best for you to give it to them and let them start a business or buy some land. Everybody, especially men, should own a little piece of land. Men, you should be owning land, not living at home with your parents, smoking pot, no job, and your mama tell you, "Oh, stay home, baby, and save some money until you can afford to move." They're setting you up. They're treating you like a girl. And the daughters are all gone off working. The roles are reversed. It's so crazy to see that, too. It's the roles have completely reversed. Where in the good old days when boys were boys and men were men, the men were encouraged to leave home at 18, get a job. They didn't even tell them to go to college because they knew it was a dumb idea. Get a job, save your money, buy some land, start a family. If you want a family. But go and be independent. But this woman, this is from the Daily Wire. I want you to really see how evil and nasty she is. And if you listen to her, she will, and people like her will control your life and screw up your life and your kids. And that's the whole plan. turn them away from the fathers. You can turn them away from God. You can control them. Why do you think so many black people are in poverty? And it's not that they're in physical poverty, they're spiritual poverty. They have no morals, they have no love. And what's on the inside, what's on the outside reflects what's happening on the inside. Poverty starts within first. When you fall away from the Father, it starts within. And then you can see it on the outside, because what's inside come out like that. When you have hatred, it's a mess. So this is from the Daily Wire. Harvard professor called for a ban on homeschooling. Some woman by the dumb woman, evil woman by the name of by the name of Elizabeth Bartholet, she claims homeschooling, number one, is a threat to children's rights. So if you're homeschooling your kids, it's a threat to children's rights. And the way I interpret that, it means by homeschooling them and being there and guide them in the right way, you're keeping them from an evil, nasty Satan daughter to destroy them, brainwash and dumb them down, demoralize them. So you're keeping them from the rights of the world to destroy them. Number two, she promotes she says she want to ban homeschooling, claiming it promotes white supremacy. I have no idea what she's talking about there. And she's white, I believe. How does that promote white supremacy? Putting them in the schools, government schools, promote white supremacy, because all they ever do is talk against white people, especially straight, white, conservative Christian men. Isn't that amazing? Nick is telling me it means, well, he thinks she's saying Christian white families are the main ones that homeschool. I don't blame them. If you're white and you send your kid to a public school today, you hate your children. You put them at risk of death, physical dying. And another reason she want to ban homeschooling is for extreme religious ideology. Isn't that amazing? They hate God, and they hate anyone who support God. I mean, especially if you really have been truly born again and you're living that way. You hate it. Even the so-called Christians who claim to know you and know the Bible hate you. That's why they turn against you, because they have not truly been born again. Here is a lecture about child protective service from this woman, Bartlett.
Child protection system, I'll call it CPS, because there is one in every state with a different initials name. The CPS system has the power to intervene, to monitor families, to take them to court, in extreme cases to remove children to foster care, and in more extreme cases to move to terminate parental rights and have the children adopted. So that's our child protective, child welfare system. In terms of what I see going on with Massachusetts and most states' child protective, child welfare system, I think the net in terms of problems that I see, and there are many different versions of what different people see, but what I see is a combination of problems that have to do with unduly limited resources. Secondly, I think it's a system unduly oriented to what gets called family preservation. I question whether it's really a family from the child's point of view if it's parents incapable of nurturing.
I have no idea what this dumb woman is talking about. It really adds up to she hates the family. Does she have an afro? I'm trying to figure. Her hair looked mighty dry.
Why was I just thinking that same thing? Like, it's the first white woman I ever seen with an afro.
I'm telling you. Doesn't even look like she combed it. She definitely put in a stay soft fro on it.
And this picture don't do it justice either.
Look at that. I would be sitting in class thinking to myself, where's the joint? Why would anyone listen to this dried up, dry hair woman? She looked miserable. I understand. You paid all your money for your child to listen to that. Just the unhappy. She hate God. Look at her. No wonder she wanted to take your children away from you. I have always wondered, not always, but ever since I became aware of child protective services or whatever they call themselves, social workers and all that crap, I always wondered, how did we get to a point in this country that someone was able to convince you that you should turn over your children to these type of people? People who hate God, people who hate the family, people whose lives are miserable. Did they vote that in? How did that come about? And you have some of the worst kind of people working so-called child protection services I ever seen, and most of them are women, it seems, who hate men, hate the family, hate God, and you let them come into your house and take your child. You turn them over, your children over to them. I don't get it. Or maybe I do get it, because when men are weak, when men are staying at home with mama, smoking and on pot and having sex out of wedlock and living together without marriage, they're no good. They can't stop this kind of stuff from happening because they're not, and a lot of them are not working. They're staying at home with mama. They're no good to society. They're not in their proper state of being, so they're no. And so these people like Bartlett and others can come in and do this. Because the women, they can't do it by themselves. They need the man to protect them. This woman's writings includes a book called Nobody's Children, Abuse and Neglect. And in it, she describes children as belonging to all of society. If I had even heard something like that growing up, my grandparents or parents had heard that your children belong to all of society, they would have cursed you out. You would have been cursed out and ran away and told never to return. Your children only belong to you. And they don't belong to you, they belong to God. You're just the overseer until they're adults. It sounds like Hillary Clinton mess. A village. And when I was growing up, we were not even allowed to play with certain children if the parents were not in order. Here is more on her life. Listen to this. Now, this is going to make your hair want to go dry and become an afro. More on her personal life. She's a supporter of the so-called Me Too movement. Let me see it. No wonder. She is a supporter of the so-called Me Too movement. She worked with the NAACP Lead Defense Fund. Well, I'll rest my case. In 1985, she wrote about her inability to conceive children and about her divorce. Well, no wonder. And you pay buku money. She supported the so-called Me Too crowd. She worked with the NAACP Lead Defense Fund, and in 1985 wrote about her inability to conceive children and about her divorce. And you're letting her tell you to let social service take your children.
We found one with her hair kind of decent.
Let me see.
But what she did was she just combed the front and left the back to fro.
Where's the decent one? And that it?
She just combed the front a little bit, but then the back is still fro. But she just tried to lay it down.
But But that still look like a fro in the front. I see some black women with their hair all nappy and balled up like that, and they do that too.
But you know, it beats this one.
This lady got an afro. I don't care what y'all say. I didn't know white hair can turn to a fro.
Right.
And here's one other I want to give you. This is from Summit News. These people are literally telling you don't listen to your parents. Only listen to the experts. This is from CBS. And they are instructing kids on how to shut down their parents. Listen, shut down their parents' theory on the virus. Here's that soundbite.
So what do you do when this happens? A loved one, let's say it's your dad, drops into the family group chat with something he thinks is real. It's something about China manufacturing the coronavirus. There's a link to a site you've never heard of with a message calling it scary stuff. So what do you do with this? Do you ignore it? Do you call him out saying how ridiculous you think this is?
If you do that to your dad, you've actually shamed him. My name is Claire Wardle and I'm the US Director of First Draft. And we are a non-profit that we help people navigate the challenges of misinformation online. What happens is that your dad doubles down on his view and he dismisses what you're saying. Use language that's empathetic and to say we're all in this together. And rather than you're wrong, I'm right, here are the facts, because that does not work.
So hold back on all that reactive talk. Maybe try something like this. Yeah, these are scary times. We're all a bit afraid, but let's be careful. What you're sharing is inaccurate and it feeds into that fear we all feel. Maybe send an article from a legitimate source quoting credible scientists on why the virus wasn't manufactured. Conspiracies can be just as infectious, just as dangerous as a virus, so you have to guard against them.
Amazing. I'm just shaking my head. Another attack on the father. Don't listen to your dad. Listen to crazy mama. Don't listen to dad. Y'all gonna regret letting all these women take over like this. Really. Look how messed up society is becoming, and look how at every effort, turnaround, they're trying to turn you away from your father. What do you think about that?
I didn't notice until you mentioned it, right, with the father thing, with the whole agenda being pushed and
Don't listen to your father.
And you just got to be careful when women are pushing anything. But I mean, the point that she's trying to say.
Everybody ain't. Oh, what's the point?
The point that I think that she's trying to say is that people do get a little crazy with the conspiracy theories, and then they go crazy. But I don't think anybody needs. That's just common sense not to believe into it. I don't think anybody needs to be told or coached not to believe into something.
Everything that woman just said is all evil. This woman saying, don't listen to your dad. Everybody, instead, say, everybody's scared now. Everybody just, I'm not scared. Daddy ain't scared. It's mama who's scared. Everybody's feeling, I'm not feeling that. That's why she want to turn you away from your father so you can become emotional and then listen to all this crap they're telling you. Play that again. I want you to see how she's pushing the logic away from the father and listen to this emotional crap from the mother.
So what do you
Instead,
do when
listen
this
to the
happens?
expert.
A loved one, let's say it's your dad, drops
got
into
many
the
at your
family
mama.
group chat with something he thinks is real. It's something about China manufacturing the coronavirus. There's a link to a site you've never heard of with a message calling it scary stuff. So what do you do with this? Do you ignore it? Do you call him out saying how ridiculous you think this is?
If you do that to your dad, you've actually shamed him. My name is Claire Wardle and I'm the US
Yeah, I
Director
love
of
that.
First Draft. And we are a non-profit that we help people navigate the challenges of misinformation online. What happens is that your dad doubles down on his view and he dismisses what you're saying. Use language that's empathetic and to say we're all in this together. And rather than you're wrong, I'm right, here are the facts, because that does not work.
So hold back on all that reactive talk. Maybe try something like this. Yeah, these are scary times. We're all a bit afraid, but let's be careful. What you're sharing is inaccurate and it feeds into that fear we all feel. Maybe send an article from a legitimate source quoting credible scientists on why the virus wasn't manufactured. Conspiracies can be just as infectious, just as dangerous as a virus, so you have to guard against them.
These two women are dangerous than the virus. They're more dangerous than the virus is.
Do you think that they make a point in the sense that these people who are going really crazy into these conspiracy theories are making things worse?
No, because the ones who are doing it have turned away from their fathers and they're listening to their mothers and they want to control.
So the people who are overreacting and then saying all these conspiracies and sharing it.
Oh, mama ideas and emotions.
So
these people like literally saying, don't listen to your fathers, but listen to the experts. And we're all freaking out. We're all scared. These are scary times. That's not true if you got a father.
Interesting. I see. I got something different from it.
What'd you get from it?
No, I mean, like, I didn't see that perspective from it. I don't know. I just see, like, I don't know. I think they're just, like, pointing out the fact that people are overdoing it. So instead of overdoing it, they're telling them, relax, it's not that deep.
And listen to them. Listen to the experts, huh?
And maybe listen to the experts. But, I mean, my whole thing is that I don't think nobody needs to be over somebody telling them what they, trying to teach them how to react to somebody's text message.
And
you should have enough sense to.
When she said, give him an article, she used CBS article information. Why would CBS know more than you know or your father know? These people hate the president.
What a mess.
Isn't that amazing? And that's why, and I understand where Joel is coming from. That's why you got to have that order back. So when you go to these evil women like that and evil men who have become like that, they can't deceive your children. CBS is fake news, man. And by the way, the U.S. is investigating China manufacturing the virus now. What an amazing time. Things are changing. How time has changed. Amazing. And don't forget to like, follow, tweet, subscribe, and share the Jesse Lee Peterson radio show, folks. We really appreciate it. We are at war. It is a spiritual battle for the soul of America. And it's going to take all of us to do it.